Hello students and welcome back to the second video of the chapter The Necklace by E.D. Maupassant. As I have told you in my first video that this is a story about a girl who was a daydreamer and she wanted to live a life full of luxuries and to be admired by everyone, and in this quest she got a chance to be in a ball party where she could represent herself, and for this she borrowed a necklace from her friend. And the day arrived and she was very happy because she was at success and she was looking elegant, gracious, smiling and full of joy. Even she danced all night with everyone presented there, and at 4 o'clock she wanted to return back to her home. So in first video we have covered the part that she danced so well at the ball party, and she went home towards 4 o'clock in the morning. Her husband had been half asleep in one of the little salons since midnight with 3 other gentlemen. So in the ballroom there were a sitting area and there her husband was sleeping from 12 o'clock midnight, and even 3 other gentlemen whose wives were enjoying themselves were also there. He threw around her shoulders the modest wraps they had carried, whose poverty clashed with the elegance of the ball costume. So when she appeared in front of the husband, and because it was 18 January, the winter season was there, so he hurriedly just offered a wrap around her shoulder, but that wrap was very simple. That's why it was not going matching with the beautiful ballroom costume. She wished to hurry away in order not to be noticed by the other women who were wrapping themselves in rich furs. So she didn't want to be insulted by other women who were having rich fur coats. So in a hurried manner she just avoided the husband and started walking without taking even her wraps. Loisel detained her. Wait, said he, and as she was coming downstairs, the husband called her by saying, wait, I am going to call a cab, that he wanted to call a taxi. But she would not listen and descended the steps rapidly because she was feeling insulted, because she was not having very rich fur coats or any expensive wraps. So she just started coming down from the stairs in a hurried manner. When they were in the street, they found no carriage. So the result was that when they came to street, they couldn't find any carriage, means any vehicle to go home back, and they began to seek for one, and they started looking for one, hailing the coachman whom they saw at a distance, and they were calling the coachman who they could see from the distance, like any rickshaw or any taxi. They walked along towards the river, hopeless and shivering. Now they started walking along the river. They were hopeless and they were shivering because it was immense cold. Finally they found one of those old carriages that one see in Paris after nightfall. So finally they found one fancy carriages, those who take to the tourists to Paris all around, but that was also after midnight. So it took them as far as their door and they went wearily up to their apartment. So the plus point was that the carriage drove them to their door, and they were very tired. Really means tired up to their apartment, and they were very tired and they went to their apartment. It was all over for her. Now it was all over because the party ended, and on his part he remembered that he would have to be at the office by 10 o'clock. And the husband also reminded her that he needed to go to office tomorrow at 10 o'clock, means the same day at 10 o'clock. So she was really depressed with this. She removed the wraps from her shoulders. So she was wrapping herself in a very simple shawl kind of thing, and when she removed that wraps from her shoulder before the glass, means in front of the mirror, for a final view of herself in her glory. In her glory, why? Because she was looking very elegant, very gracious. So she wanted to look last time, to see her dress and everything. Suddenly she uttered a cry. Suddenly she started crying bitterly. Her necklace was not around neck. So what was the reason? Because she had lost her necklace. So this was really very shocking for her to see that her necklace was lost. Now come to this page number 42. I'm reading second last para. You can say Loisel already half undressed. So Mr. Loisel was in the process of undressing himself. Asked, what is the matter? He asked, after listening to the cries of the wife, he asked what was the matter. She turned towards him excitedly. Then she take a turn and started looking at him. I have no longer have Ma'am Forrester's necklace. And she was really shivering and crying, and in that crying mood, she announced that she had lost the necklace. He rose in dismay. He was also shocked and disappointed. What? How is that? It is not possible. Even he was not believing to this. And they looked in the folds of the dresses, because that dress was full of folds, like it was a frock. Okay, so they started looking in the folds of the dresses, in the folds of the cloak. Cloak means the attached collar and all, in the pockets, everywhere. They could not find it, but they couldn't find the necklace. He asked, you are sure you still had it when we left the minister's house? He confirmed by asking that, are you sure that when we left the minister's house your necklace was there? So see how distressed they were after losing the necklace. So what she replied? Yes, I felt it was as we came out. She replied, yes, it was there when she came out. But if you had lost it in the street, ye should have heard it fall. Then he asked that if you might have lost it in the street, we might have heard the sound of falling. It must be in the cab. So maybe possibility was there that we have lost the necklace in the cab, means the carriage that dropped them to their house. Yes, it is possible. So she replied, yes, it could be possible. Did you take the number? And she asked that, have you noticed the number of the cab? No. And you? Did you notice what it was? And they both asked that whether they noticed the number of the cab or not. No. They looked at each other, utterly cast down. So they were confused. They were really depressed and stressed and started looking at each other. Finally, Loisel dressed himself again. And he dressed himself again. And I'm going, he said, over the track where we went on foot to see if I can find it. And he announced that I'm going back to the track. I thought that I'm thinking that we might have lost it there, so I'm going to search for it. And he went, and by saying this, he went out. She remained in her evening gown, not having the force to go to bed. She was so tired and so much stressed that she was not having courage to change her clothes, and she was wearing that evening gown, and she was having no strength to go to bed for a good sleep. Towards 7 o'clock, her husband returned. At 7 o'clock in the morning, the husband came. He had found nothing, but it was all waste, because he could not find the necklace. He went to the police and to the cab offices and put on advertisement in the newspaper offering a reward. Even he did many things, like he informed the police, he informed the cab offices that if anybody could find that necklace, if they would return it, he would also offer an amount of money for that. So even they put an advertisement in the newspaper. But what happened after that? She waited all day in a state of bewilderment. She was confused. She was shocked. Okay. And before this frightful disaster, Loisel returned in the evening. And after doing all these, Mr. Loisel returned in the evening, his face pale. No, he turned yellow because he was extremely tired and depressed and stressed. He had discovered nothing and he couldn't find the necklace. He said, "Write to your friend that you have broken the clasp of the necklace and that you will have it repaired." So he advised his wife that you should write your friend that somehow you have broken the clasp, means joint of the necklace, and you would get it repaired, and that really would give us some time to think about it or to find the necklace again. She wrote as he dictated. So whatever he said, she did the same thing. At the end of a week, they had lost all hope. So it was like end of the week, so 7 days, and now there was no chance to get it back, and they were hopeless. And Loisel, older by 5 years, declared, "We must replace this jewel now," because he was so worried about the necklace. So at last, because he was an honest man, so he advised that we must replace this jewel, means we should purchase one and should return it to your friend. In a shop of the Palais Royal, they found a chaplet of diamonds. So they found there are many designs of the diamonds in a booklet, which seemed to be them exactly like the one they had lost. And from that booklet, they just saw a necklace which was exact copy of the same they had lost. It was valued at 40,000 francs, and it was having a huge money, like 40,000 francs. It was really a very big amount. So they could get it for 36,000, and it was on discount, and they could easily afford it at 36,000. Means that was really a big amount for a lower middle class. Loisel possessed 18,000 francs. So Loisel was having the savings of 18,000 francs which his father had left him. He borrowed the rest, and he was having only 18, and he need to pay 36. So almost the double. So he borrowed the rest. He made renewous promises, took money from usurers, means those who lend the money, and the whole race of lenders. So he took the money on like a very big rate of interest, and he got the money from every race of lender. Means he arranged the money with great difficulty and with high rate of interest. Then he went to get the new necklace, and after that they went to get a new necklace, depositing on the merchant's counter 36,000 francs, and they deposited the money. When Ma'am Loisel took back the jewels to Ma'am Forestier, the later means Ma'am Forestier said to her in a frigid tone, in an irritated manner, "You should have returned them to me sooner, for I might have needed them." And she was really irritated because Loisel was returning the necklace a little late. So Ma'am Forestier did not open the jewel box as Ma'am Loisel feared she would. Even she didn't open the jewel to see whether the necklace was there. And Ma'am Loisel, she had arranged a huge amount of money for this jewel. What would she think if she would perceive the substitution? And she was in a fear. Ma'am Loisel was in a fear that what would happen if she would just came to know about the replacement, about the substitution of that necklace. What would she say, and what would she say about that? Means that her necklace was more expensive, or maybe having more value and money, and she had replaced with the very not having that carat value and all. Would she take her for a robber, and would she charge her for robbery? Ma'am Loisel now knew the horrible life of necessities, but all this ended because Ma'am Forrester did not even open the jewel box. So Ma'am Loisel now was in disposition because she knew very well that how her life would be, because they have borrowed the money on high rate of interest. So she did her part, but she played her part very well, however completely heroically, means with great courage. It was necessary to pay this frightful debt because it was a huge amount of money. She would pay it. They sent away the maid. So first they made the changes like sending away their helpers, their household helpers. They changed their logins. They rented some rooms in an attic. So they just had they earlier they had an apartment. Now they shifted to a single room at the attic, and it was in a poor dwellings. She learned the odious work of a kitchen. So after paying for the necklace, what was the life like? They shifted to poor dwellings after paying the amount for the necklace. So they shifted to a poor house where Ma'am Loisel was doing all the household work. So she learned the odious work of a kitchen. She washed the dishes, she washed the solid linen, their clothes and dish clothes. Means she was doing every household work, which she hung on the line to dry. Even she washed her clothes by herself, and she took down the refuse to the street each morning and brought up the water, stopping at each landing to catch her breath. And to fetch a pail of water, she needed to go down the street, and after filling the bucket, she would climb the stairs and stopping at each landing to catch her breath. Means the life was really very hard for her, and clothed like a woman of the people. Now she was clothed like very common, not even common, very poor women. She went to the grocers. Now, how was the life now? She started doing the household work, not only the household work, to save even a single penny from the hard-earned money. So she started going for the shopping herself, to purchase the grocery. Okay, and how she saved the money? She went to the grocers, the butchers, and the fruitiers with her basket on her arm, shopping, haggling to the last sou of her miserable money, means hard earned money. And to save the last sou, means even the single penny from her money, she started going to have that bargain all the time. So what happened with this? She started having the loud noise, okay, and she started losing her beauty. So this was the consequences of buying the things. So that lesson gives you very important, very very important message, that whatever you are having, just be satisfied in that. See what happened to her. If she might have listened to the husband first time and we want some flowers or whatever, so she might have not faced such miserable life, the life full of miseries and all. So what happened next? Let's read out what happened to the husband. So the husband worked evenings putting the books of some merchants in order, and the nights he often did copying at 5 sous a page. And the husband also started working double shifts, and in the evening he was just translating some pages for only 5 sous a page. Okay, that was really a very very little amount he was to be paid, but he was doing it with full honesty, and they started saving the money to pay the debt. And this life lasted for 10 years, and they spent this life for 10 years. Means how big was the amount they needed to pay, that they spent 10 years paying all the debts. At the end of 10 years they had resorted all, and at the end of the 10 years they had paid all the money. So it was easy to say 10 years, but really difficult to spend those 10 years. If we would imagine about only a day pleasure could cost 10 years of suffering. So the person should be satisfied what he was having or what she was having 10 years back. So really a great message given by this story. Ma'am Loisel seemed old now. So because of the household work, because of the all kind of tension and worries, she started looking older. She had become a strong, hard woman. So she started looking like a hard woman, like a poor dwelling woman and crude woman of the poor household. Her hair badly dressed because she was having no time to dress herself as she used to. Her skirts they were torn up, they were patched up. Her hands red because she was doing all the linen washing, cleaning. She spoke in a loud tone because of the bargain, because of the poor dwelling. She started speaking in a loud tone now, and washed the floors and large pail of water. But sometimes when her husband was at office, so although she was living the miserable life, but whenever she was getting a time, still she was daydreaming about that nasty night. Yet she was having dreams about that. When her husband was at the office, she would sit herself before the window and think of that evening party of former times, of that ball where she was so beautiful and so flattered. She was not thinking about losing the necklace. Rather, she was thinking how pretty she was, how flattered she was at that party. And because of that party, they were living the life of miseries for 10 years. How would it have been if she had not lost the necklace? Moreover, she was just having the fantasies that if she had not the necklace, what would be the life? So who knows how singular is life, because life never gives us second chance. It is only a singular one. Only a single chance is given. So it was useless to think about it, of that ball where she was so beautiful and so flattered, and that life was singular, and how full of changes, how small a thing will ruin or save one. So this was the strong message, that everything has its own value. Even a small thing can make you and even break you. Okay, one Sunday, as she was taking a walk in the campus, Alice to rid herself of the cares of the week. So she was so tired and she wanted to have fresh. So one Sunday, as she was taking a walk in the camp's Aces to rid herself to the cares of the week. So one Sunday fine morning, when she was so tired with the week work, and she was enjoying in a park a walk, she suddenly perceived a woman. She suddenly noticed a woman walking with a child. It was Ma'am Forrester, and she noticed that it was none other than Ma'am Forrester. Still young, still pretty, still attractive. Ma'am Forrester was still in her beauty because she was having that same lifestyle. Ma'am Loisel was affected, and she was really felt hurt with this after seeing her friend in her young age, and she was so old and poor now. Should she speak to her? Yes, certainly. And she decided whether I should go and speak to her. And now that she had paid, she would tell her all. Why not? Because now they have paid all the debts. So why not she should go and talk to her? She approached her. Good morning, Jenny. And she went and wished her good morning by calling her name. Her friend did not recognize her and was astonished to be so familiarly addressed by this common personage. The friend was so surprised to be called by such a common personality with her first name. She stammered, "But madam, I don't know. You must be mistaken." So she replied that, "I think you might be mistaken. I am not the same person." So see, her friend was still in good personality, and she was poor. That's why the friend could not recognize her. No, I am Mathilde Loisel. And she introduced herself with her name, introducing that I am Mathilde Loisel. Her friend uttered a cry of astonishment. She disbelieved it. She was so astonished. Oh, my poor Mathilde, how you have changed. She just asked it, how she changed so much. What she replied, yes, I have had some hard days since I saw you. So, since I last met you, after that I had a hard life and some miserable ones, even not the hard, even miserable one, and all because of you. And she blamed her for this. Because of me? How is that? But how it could be possible that it was all because of me? You recall the diamond necklace that you loaned me to wear to the minister's ball? Then she reminded her that you had given me one necklace to wear for minister's ball. Yes, very well. Well, I lost it. So I lost it that time. How is that, since you returned it to me? But how it could be possible, because you returned my necklace. I returned another to you exactly like it. So I returned you the exact copy of that. And it has taken us 10 years to pay for it. And if you don't believe, I had paid all the debts in 10 years. So she also told her that they had paid all the debts in 10 years. So what was the friend's reaction? This is really a climax to the story. Fine. So I return another to you exactly like this, and it took 10 years to pay. You can understand that it was not easy for us who have nothing, and you could easily understand that we had nothing, so it was very difficult for us to pay for those huge amount of money. But it is finished and I am decently content, and I am really satisfied that now all the debts are being cleared. Ma'am Forrester stopped short. She was so surprised and she started looking at her. She said, you say that you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine? She confirmed by asking, have you returned me a diamond necklace for my replacement to the necklace? Yes, you did not perceive it then. Have you not noticed it then? They were just alike because they were very much same. And she smiled and proud and simple joy. And she was feeling very proud and she started smiling. Ma'am Forrester was touched. She was very touched and took both her hands and she replied, oh, my poor Matilda. Means Mathilde. Mine were fake. Hey, my darling Mathilde. My necklace was fake. It was not original. They were not worth over 500 francs. It was not more than 500 francs. So how miserably they paid 36,000 francs for a fake necklace. So see, we got the lesson from this necklace that we should be satisfied what we are having, and we should not ever believe that everybody was having all the luxuries and they were not having. So she could easily afford a necklace of 500 francs, but see how she led the life with full of miseries because of only that mistake, only that her biggest notion of thinking her friend to be very rich and to herself very poor. So see, this lesson is really giving us very good message that what we are having, we should be satisfied with that only. So we could say that one of the themes within the necklace is the division of reality versus appearance. Madame Loisel is beautiful on the outside, but inside she is disconnected with her less than wealthy lifestyle. So due to her pride and obsession with wealth, Mathilde loses years of her life and spends all of her savings on the the necklace only to find out that the original necklace was a fake, just like Madame Loisel herself. So the story demonstrates the value of honesty. If Mathilde had been honest to Madame Forrester earlier, she would likely have been able to easily replace the necklace and enjoy the prosperity she wanted but never had. So this is all for the lesson. Thanks for watching the video.